Look up at the sky over Tehran. For days, it has been filled with smoke, missiles, and the deafening roar of a massive war. But what just happened, high above the Iranian capital, is something the world has never seen before. History was just written in the clouds. An Israeli stealth fighter jet, the F-35, just shot down an Iranian fighter plane in a heart-stopping dogfight directly over Tehran. Welcome to the most intense breaking news update available today. To stay fully informed and understand exactly what is happening in this rapidly expanding global conflict, hit that subscribe button right now. This channel delivers the absolute latest, verified facts as this war unfolds, ensuring viewers never miss a single critical update. Now, straight into the action. The reality of modern warfare has just been totally transformed. The world is looking at the first ever air-to-air kill by an F-35 against another piloted aircraft in history. The F-35 is widely known as the ultimate stealth machine. It is built to slip behind enemy lines completely unseen and strike without warning. But this time, it was forced into a direct plane-to-plane fight. The Israeli military confirmed that one of their F-35 stealth jets was flying a combat mission right over the Iranian capital. While it was targeting military command sites on the ground, an Iranian Yak-130 fighter jet took to the sky to challenge it. The Iranian plane attempted to threaten the most advanced stealth fighter on the planet. In a matter of seconds, the Israeli pilot locked onto the Iranian plane and fired. The Iranian jet was instantly blown out of the sky. Wreckage was seen falling in flames toward the mountains north of Tehran. This represents a massive tactical blow to the Iranian military and an unprecedented show of force. But why is this specific event so historically important? Because for 40 long years, the Israeli Air Force had not fought another human pilot in the sky. The last time an Israeli jet shot down a manned enemy. The plane was way back in 1985 over Lebanon. Since then, wars have been fought mostly with unmanned drones and long-range missiles. Close combat dogfights were thought to be a thing of the past. But today, the classic dogfight returned in the most dramatic way possible. The pilot who pulled the trigger was actually a junior officer, flying deep inside hostile territory, surrounded by extreme danger. This pilot managed to pull off a move that has permanently rewritten military record books. The head of the Israeli Air Force immediately got on the military radio to personally tell the young pilot that his actions were completely historic, reminding him that the next mission is already waiting. Think about the incredible contrast between these two machines. On one side, you have the F-35 Lightning TIE, known in the Israeli military as the Adir, which translates to the Mighty One. This is a fifth-generation stealth marvel. It is quite literally a flying supercomputer. It is designed to see the enemy long before the enemy even knows it is there. On the other side, the Iranian Yak-130. This is a Russian-made jet, primarily used as a training aircraft for new pilots. It was heavily armed and sent up into the chaos to defend the skies over Tehran. It was a complete mismatch in technology, but the stakes were absolute life and death. If you want to understand the terrifying reality of this rapidly expanding global war before anyone else does, you need to hit that subscribe button right now. We are tracking every single dogfight, every missile strike, and every massive shift in power as it happens. You cannot afford to miss what comes next. Because the sky over Tehran right now is an absolute war zone. This was not a random border clash. This historic dogfight happened right over the heart of Iran. American and Israeli forces are currently executing a massive campaign, dropping thousands of bombs on command centers and military bases. The Iranian capital is physically shaking from the constant explosions. Anti-aircraft fire is lighting up the sky. When that Iranian Yak-130 took off from the runway, the pilot was flying straight into a swarm of the most advanced military technology ever created by human hands. The commander of the Israeli airbase gave a chillingly simple description of how the fight actually went down. He told reporters simply, "We identified the plane, locked on it, and launched." That is the brutal reality of modern air combat. There was no long, drawn-out chase. There was no Hollywood-style turning and twisting through the clouds. The F-35 used its ultimate advantage: total information and absolute stealth. It detected the Iranian jet, instantly calculated the lethal threat, and eliminated it in just a few seconds. The Iranian Air Force completely understands that they are facing a vastly superior enemy, yet they are still desperately sending their pilots up into the sky to protect what is left of their regime. And that raw desperation is exactly what makes this unfolding war so incredibly unpredictable and highly dangerous. To truly grasp the magnitude of what happened in the skies over Tehran, you have to understand exactly how the F-35 fights. This was not a dogfight where two planes circle each other, trading bullets like an old Hollywood movie. The F-35 Lightning I rewrote the rules of engagement. It operates like an absolute ghost. When that Iranian Yak-130 was scrambled to defend the capital, its pilot likely never even saw the jet that killed him. If you are just tuning in and want to be the first to know the verified facts of this rapidly escalating war, hit subscribe right now. Our team is working around the clock to bring you the truth from the front lines, breaking down the military tactics that are changing the world minute by minute. You cannot afford to miss the next crucial update. The Israeli military revealed that the F-35 was heavily engaged in a massive bombing run, actively targeting Iranian internal security command centers and missile launch sites right across the capital. In the middle of this high-stakes mission, the aircraft's advanced sensors, which constantly vacuum up data from hundreds of miles away, detected the Yak-130 rising from a runway below. The F-35 processes millions of lines of code in a fraction of a second, handing the pilot a complete, real-time picture of the entire battle space. Before the Iranian radar systems could even register a blip, the Israeli pilot was already locking onto the target. The F-35 fired an advanced air-to-air missile from miles away, striking from well beyond visual range. It was a calculated, cold, and mathematically precise kill. One moment, the Iranian jet was ascending to defend its airspace, and the next, it was raining down in flames over the mountains north of Tehran. This specific shootdown proves a terrifying reality. The F-35 is not just a stealth bomber, it is an apex predator. The Israeli Air Force has now demonstrated that they can fly directly into the most heavily defended airspace in the Middle East, bomb strategic ground targets, and swat hostile fighters out of the sky, all at the exact same time. They have achieved absolute air supremacy over the very heart of Iran. But the Iranian regime is not waving a white flag. Despite knowing their planes are entirely outmatched, they are still desperately throwing everything they have into the sky. It is a chilling strategy of sheer survival, and it means the danger for everyone involved is only going to multiply in the critical hours ahead. Think about the massive shockwaves this single explosion just sent around the entire world. Right now, military leaders in Russia, China, and across Europe are pausing everything to study what just happened. The invincible wall that Iran thought they had built in the sky has just been completely shattered. To stay ahead of these rapid global changes and know exactly what this means for your future, make sure you hit that subscribe button. This channel is your absolute best source for completely unfiltered and verified news. We bring you the total truth while the rest of the world is still waking up. Do not get left behind. Look at the situation on the ground in Iran today. The leadership in Tehran is currently facing a total nightmare. They spent decades and billions of dollars buying foreign jets, building up radar defenses, and promising their citizens that their skies were perfectly safe. But the Israeli Air Force just proved those promises were totally empty. An enemy stealth jet flew directly over their capital, bombed their defenses, and shot down their fighter jet, all without taking a single scratch. This leaves the Iranian military totally blind and completely exposed. If their jets cannot even get close to an F-35 without being blown out of the sky instantly, how can they stop the massive wave of bombings happening right now? The harsh reality is that they cannot. The regime is now scrambling in total panic. High-level commanders are rushing into deep underground bunkers because the surface is no longer safe anywhere in the country. The complete failure of the Iranian Air Force in this historic dogfight means the skies are completely wide open. Allied bombers now have a totally clear path to strike whatever they want. They can hit missile factories, drone bases, and top-secret facilities without fear of being challenged in the air. The absolute dominance shown by that single F-35 pilot has effectively locked Iran out of its own sky. But a desperate military is extremely dangerous. Since Iran can no longer fight in the air, what exactly will they do next? Will they launch a massive, blind barrage of ground missiles in pure revenge? The entire Middle East is holding its breath right now, waiting for the smoke to clear and the next deadly move to be made. But the destruction of that single Iranian jet is just one piece of a much larger and much more terrifying puzzle. You have to look at the massive scale of what the Israeli and American forces are doing right now to understand how fast this war is moving. This was not a quick hit-and-run operation. The sky over Tehran has been completely taken over. Military officials have confirmed that Allied fighter jets have carried out hundreds of missions and dropped thousands of bombs on Iranian targets in just the last few days. And while that F-35 was making history by shooting down the Yak-130, it was actually right in the middle of a massive bombing run. The primary targets were the deeply entrenched command centers used by the Iranian regime's internal security forces. These are the very nerve centers that the regime uses to maintain its strict grip on power across the entire country. By destroying these specific facilities, the Allied forces are not just crippling the Iranian military, they are actively dismantling the regime's physical ability to control its own territory. This is exactly why the Iranian military is reacting with such wild desperation today. The Yak-130 that was blown out of the sky is technically an advanced training aircraft. It is not a frontline stealth fighter because Iran simply does not have one. The fact that they sent a trainer jet heavily armed with missiles up against the most advanced stealth fighter on the planet shows exactly how dire their situation has become. They are throwing absolutely everything they have left into the sky, knowing full well it will likely never return. The absolute air supremacy achieved by the United States and Israel means they can now hover over Tehran for extended periods. They are picking apart defenses piece by piece without any real threat from above. But that total dominance in the air is pushing the conflict into even more dangerous territory on the ground. Iran has spent years building a massive arsenal of ballistic missiles, and with their air force effectively grounded destroyed. Those ground-based missiles are their only real weapon left to use. The entire world is now holding its breath, watching to see if Iran will empty its missile silos in a massive, overwhelming wave of revenge attacks across the region. The United States military is already rapidly shifting more air defense systems into the Middle East, preparing for the very real possibility of a massive ballistic missile storm. The clock is ticking loudly, the pressure is building by the second, and the next few hours could completely determine the fate of the entire region. To understand the absolute panic currently gripping the Iranian military, you have to look at what that downed Yak-130 was actually trying to do. It was not sent up to directly fight the F-35 because Tehran knows that is a guaranteed suicide mission. Military analysts are now revealing that the Iranian jet was likely scrambled in a desperate attempt to hunt down advanced Allied surveillance drones. These drones act as the unblinking eyes of the massive bombing campaign, silently painting targets on the ground for the devastating airstrikes. Iran was frantically trying to blind the Allied forces, But instead of finding a slow-moving drone, the Iranian pilot flew straight into the crosshairs of the most lethal stealth fighter ever built. We are witnessing military history being written in real time, and the balance of global power is changing by the second. If you want the absolute truth about this rapidly exploding conflict, you must hit that subscribe button right now. Our team is bypassing the mainstream noise to bring you the verified facts straight from the skies over Tehran as soon as they happen. Do not watch this historic war unfold in the dark. Subscribe and stay ahead of the curve. The F-35 Adir, which translates to the Mighty One in the Israeli military, did not even have to engage in a traditional twisting dogfight. The Israeli airbase commander in charge of the stealth jets made the reality chillingly clear to the world today. He stated plainly that there was no complicated aerial scuffle. The F-35 detected the threat, locked on, and launched. It was a rapid, mathematically perfect execution. The stealth supercomputer processed the data, saw the Iranian trainer jet trying to interfere with the massive bombing run, and simply erased it from the sky from miles away. This single, devastating kill has completely ripped the roof off of Iran's defenses. The regime's internal security centers, their heavily fortified Basij command posts, and their massive missile launch sites in Tehran are now being pulverized without a single shred of aerial resistance. The Iranian leadership is suddenly realizing that their entire air defense strategy is completely useless against fifth-generation stealth technology. The skies now entirely belong to the Allied forces, and the regime's top commanders are trapped deep underground. But a cornered military, with its back against the wall, is the most dangerous enemy on earth. Will they accept this crushing defeat in the sky, or are they about to unleash a desperate, massive retaliation on the ground that sets the entire region on fire? Look closely at what this historic moment means for the future of warfare. The complete destruction of that Iranian Yak-130 over Tehran was not just a single victory in the sky. It was a loud, undeniable message to the entire world. The Israeli military has officially confirmed that this was the very first time an F-35 stealth fighter shot down a manned enemy aircraft in combat. A completely new era of aerial warfare has just officially begun. To make sure you never miss a single verified update about this rapidly changing global conflict, hit that subscribe button right now. The mainstream media is miles behind, but this channel delivers the raw, unfiltered truth directly to your screen the moment it happens. Do not get left in the dark as history unfolds before our eyes. This event exposes the terrifying reality of the massive technological gap in this war. The F-35 Lightning II is a flying supercomputer that operates completely unseen. The Iranian Yak-130, however, is actually just a subsonic training jet. Why would Iran send a training jet into a modern war zone? Because their air force is completely cornered. Military analysts indicate this plane was desperately trying to hunt down Allied surveillance drones to blind the massive bombing campaign currently destroying Tehran's command centers. Instead, the Iranian pilot flew blindly into a deadly trap. The F-35 did not even need to engage in a close Hollywood-style dogfight. It detected the threat from miles away, locked onto the target using advanced sensors, and fired a missile long before the Iranian radar even registered a single blip. In a matter of seconds, the sky was cleared. The Israeli Air Base commander confirmed it was a rapid, mathematically perfect execution. Now, the skies over Iran are completely wide open. Allied bombers are operating with absolute freedom, pounding missile launchers and security bases without any fear of aerial resistance. The invincible wall Iran promised its citizens has been totally shattered. But this overwhelming defeat in the sky makes the situation on the ground infinitely more dangerous. With their air force effectively neutralized, the Iranian regime is trapped. They are pushed completely against the wall, leaving their massive arsenal of ground-based ballistic missiles as their only remaining weapon. The entire world is watching the Middle East right now, waiting in absolute suspense to see if Tehran will launch a catastrophic wave of missiles in pure retaliation. The clock is ticking, the stakes have never been higher, and the very next move could easily set the entire globe on fire.